little side distracted. I'm ready though.
Side distracted. All right. So the Shy episode number 2 of season 2. All right. So you watched it on Sunday?
Pretty loaded. I watched it today.
Oh, you watched it today. Okay. I watched it last night for the second time.
I watched half of it. Oh, you watched it again to just like kind of refresh your memory?
Girl, yeah, I got notes and everything. I was like, I ain't gonna forget.
Yeah, I wrote some notes down too. Yeah, I watched half of it yesterday and then the rest of it today. I felt like it was a loaded episode.
It was fast paced, and
it was very fast.
The first one was kind of slow, right, until the end. So it was like, yeah. So this was good. It picked up. I was like, okay. When I was watching it, I was like, Mia probably is gonna be satisfied with this episode because a lot's happening.
I felt very satisfied. It is, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say it's not even that a lot, but yeah, it was a lot of nuggets. Like there were a lot of good nuggets that were happening in the episode. It was a loaded episode.
It was loaded.
Let's get it off.
It has some new characters too. So it started off with the first new character, which is like that new detective, Black woman, Detective Tucson or something. So she came in to investigate the crime scene of Miss Ethel. So we left off last episode where Miss Ethel got beat up very severely. Looked like she could have made it. She could have not made it. But we find out
Ethel got her ass beat.
She got her ass beat. She did. And it was brutal. It was brutal. Okay. So they said she had like some broken ribs or something. They were talking about it, and she didn't die. So that's why the other detective is here, because that white guy is the homicide detective. So they had him on scene just in case she crossed over, but she's still here with us. And the Black lady is not going for it. She is like really about her shit. She's more aggressive than that white man. And she is like, nah, who did this? This don't look right to me. We need to figure this shit out. So
I have a question about her though. So, and I may be skipping ahead, but I guess it goes hand in hand. When she was, the scene where she goes into Miss Ethel's home what looked like at night.
When she comes back. Okay.
When she comes back, detective came back to Miss Ethel's house to, search the property, see if she could glance over things, see if she missed anything. That's what it looked like. Then right before the clip turned into something else, she found that roll of money. Well, there's two things. So she pressed play, she listened to the voicemails, and then she took the voicemail tape out and put it in her pocket, which at first I was like, okay, maybe she's just using that as evidence. I don't know. But the second time, and this is what I'm wanting to answer from you, she found a roll of money, and she looked at herself in the mirror with the roll of money, and then she just like kind of put it away. I'm like, is she part of this craziness? Is she just like, you know what? I'm about to take this money. Or is she just, for all we know, just a great detective? Like, you know what I mean? Like that was fishy to me, because I'm sure a lot of cops find money and they give a certain percentage of it up, drug money, and they keep some. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be a perfect cop, but what I'm saying is like that scene just didn't look right at the end for me. Or did you get something different, or you didn't even think?
Well, what I got from the scene was throughout the episode, we'll just jump ahead to her whole storyline for the episode. So throughout the episode, she's trying to figure out what's going on here. So she talks to a few different people. Okay. She finds out that like Ronnie has a connection. Miss Ethel's known in the neighborhood. She also finds out that the drug dealers, Reggie's drug dealing crew, the Rolling Sixes or whatever, they run that area. Mm-hmm. All right. So it's not making sense to her, because she's like, well, from what I got from her finding the money, it was like they originally said it was a home invasion, home robbery. That's what she was getting word on the street. Mm-hmm. But she finds out that it wasn't that, because they left money. What robbers or some drug dealers looking for money, like coming to attack you for money, would leave money and stuff? So she's like, they didn't steal anything. There was actually money left. So I think that's what she put the connections, like this is deeper than a home burglary, because they didn't steal shit. I thought that's why they made a big deal.
That sounds actually pretty on point. I really was way thinking something else.
Yeah, because because they kept trying to convince her it was just a home invasion, home robbery, but she kept asking questions. She's like, but nothing was stolen. And she talked to Emmett's mom, who's the nurse, because we find out later at the hospital that Emmett's mom came for her shift to supervise Miss Ethel, and she found her on the floor. And so she asked her, she was like, well, did she have any beef with anybody? And she was just like, well, she was arguing with some boys, outside of the neighborhood. And she put two and two together and thought those boys were part of the drug crew. So that's how she gets on this whole. And then remember, she follows Reggie, and she sees Brandon and Reggie speaking.
That is another thing. I was like, what is that about?
So she's trying to tie all of this to drug-related type of something, okay? And she's trying to put all the connections together. But the white guy is so surfacey. He was like, oh, it was probably just a home burglary, a home invasion. Mm-hmm. And she's like, nah, it's way more than that. And with the money thing, she could have pocketed the money because she does seem a little like she doesn't give a fuck. Like she doesn't care about the rules or anything. So.
Yeah, kind of like, I don't know. It just seemed like it definitely could be what you're saying, because I'm like, you know what? That's a totally new perspective. I literally just was like, oh my God, she's up to no good, because I feel like I can't trust anybody. But on the other hand, when you broke it down from your perspective, I was like, ooh, that's a good scenario too. So, okay, well.
I think they'll definitely touch on that next episode if she mentions the money to Miss Ethel, or because she hasn't shared that information yet with the other detectives. So we'll see where it goes. So we see Reggie in line for Brandon's food truck, his taco soul food fucking truck. And so Reggie gets in line, and, Brandon hands him his burrito. And he's like, oh, shit, because he didn't realize it was Reggie till after he already took the order and everything. And Reggie just starts eating it. He's like, yeah, bro, this is good. But he walks away without paying him.
Essentially, Brandon kind of took a L for the kid, for Kevin.
Okay.
And that's how Reggie and them are like, whatever.
Because now it's like Brandon owes Reggie.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Basically, he starts to walk away from his food truck, like, he like, where my money at? And Reggie's just like, we good, bruh. Like, we good. Reggie gets in his car, starts eating his burrito, and then there's a guy in the car with a gun behind Reggie's head, basically saying, hey, you acting real big, but where's my bread? So I'm assuming this is like his supplier or something, and he owes this person, his fucking drug boss, some money.
Which we find out that he did owe a drug boss, and he figured out a way to get the money, which I'm sure a lot of drug dealers probably would try to do or successfully attempt to do. See how that plays out with just him, getting kind of, you can tell Reggie's character, his motives were a little unstable. He wasn't as badassy as we usually see him.
Scared, right?
He was a little shook. He was on edge. He was like, we got to figure this shit out. So he gets the money, takes it to the big drug lord or whatever, and that conversation leads into basically, don't let this shit happen again where you end up owing me money, or else, it's going to be another problem that you really don't want to have to worry about. Right. So we see how that kind of, puts a fork in that for now.
Yeah. It was a few very cute scenes with Reggie and his little brother that I took note of. So like, so he comes in all angry with the workers, telling them to get to work, and then he sees his little brother like wrangling up chips and shit, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? I
wrote that down.
His little brother was like, oh, I got a side hustle or whatever. I'm selling chips. And then he was selling them for like 50 cents, 75 cents, 85 cents. And Reggie's like, what the fuck? Nah, you my little brother. We don't do that broke change shit. You charge $1 at least for every single one. Right. So I just thought that was cute, because it was basically like, look, I'm putting you on the game, but in a legitimate way, because he is still a kid. So
And then to take it further, the part that I also thought was cute for that was when he was like, whoa, where's your homework?
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't have none. He was like, okay, well, you better go upstairs and find you some, because I'm not going to jail for nobody else, da-da-da-da. And I thought that was like, you know, because he could easily tell his little brother, you know, don't worry about school, fuck school, you know, that kind of thing, whether he's trying to save his own ass or not. I just thought that that was a fatherly, responsible to see from Reggie, you know, that side kind of come out. I was like,
I like Reggie because he's not all good or all bad. Like him and Brandon kind of have a parallel.
They do.
Because it's like him and Brandon, they both share the same core group of friends that they grew up with, but he went this way, the good guy way, Brandon, and all his friends and shit went gangbanging way. Yeah. And they kind of come together with this common death of the neighborhood kid. Yeah. So we see them a few times.
Yeah, we see them kind of call truce. Truly is what it looks like. We see them, you know, call it truce. Not no, yo, we good? Yeah, we good today. No, it was like, hey, bro, like, appreciate you for that. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. You know, like, I really felt like they were good, and I actually feel like they're going to form some sort of, like, I don't know, I'm not going to say, like, bromance, but I'm going to say, like, some sort of relationship where there's a trust established. But for whatever reason, with that detective that we've been talking about throughout this review up until now, she's taking pictures of Reggie and Brandon having conversations, even though within that moment it was a healthy conversation. But the fact that she's watching them leads you to believe either, hopefully there's not no evidence or any whispers about Brandon snitching on Reggie or something to tarnish the relationship that they're working on. I'll say that.
I wasn't even thinking to the point of view of Brandon snitching. I was thinking more so Brandon may go down for some shit that he's not necessarily involved in.
I thought about that too. I did think about that. Mm-hmm.
At the very, very end, so we find out that Reggie's boss, the drug boss who he gave the $100,000 to in this episode, he is a known businessman in the neighborhood. So he's a Black established businessman. People know him as like a pizza shop owner, and he owns a bunch of other shit. So at the end of the episode, he comes to Brandon's truck and basically gets a taco and gives him his business card and it's like, if you need anything. So to me, the detective looking at Brandon is kind of foreshadowing what's about to happen coming up. And it may be that like Brandon gets involved in the drug trade, whether he knows it or not, whether he's forced into it or not. It may be something he's tempted into because this established businessman may try to move money through his truck or something. Who knows? We don't know yet, but it seems like that's a possibility. Jerica and her family and how they were like talking down on Brandon at the company picnic or the family picnic, I believe.
I felt so bad.
Yeah. So it seems like there's a pressure there because her parents are basically like, oh my God, we didn't send you to these established schools for you to marry a chef. And I was thinking, I didn't know a chef was a low level job. Like, I think a cook and a chef are like two different things. I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to have dated a chef.
Yes.
I love food. Like, feed me, baby. You know, I like to get fed.
No.
No, but in all seriousness, I think it's very dope. Like, I thought it was hella dope that, and again, I'm skipping, but when they had, when his girlfriend invited a guest over and she asked Brandon to cook for, you know, the guest and her for that night, like the clip of like all of the ingredients, the beautiful ingredients, and like kind of how they just, you know, I was like, this is hella dope. Like you said, a difference between a cook, I would consider myself a cook, versus a chef who can pair things and tell you about, you know, how things are supposed to taste, and like, girl, bye. And we all know those kind of families that treat people like that, whether they're white people, whether they're Black, you know, people, whatever. We all have different classes. The thing that I don't like, and I don't know, Jerica, to me, sometimes gets on my nerve because
I cannot stand her.
The same thing.
I want him to leave her. I can't stand Jerica.
Yeah, I feel like she does the same thing that her parents do. It's just that it's a little softer because it's like I'm bucking you. And I see the good in you, but you're still not good enough. And I've got to kind of remind you that you're not good enough or you're not where you should be. Like, I don't know. I just get a certain air about her.
Yeah. When they were at the family function, and so I think that Brandon catered the event or something, the picnic or whatever. And it looked like he was catering the event, but he wasn't serving. So his homies in the food truck who helped him were serving, but one of them has to go to the bathroom or something. So he stepped behind there and started serving plates. And Jerica walked up all embarrassed, like, what are you doing? Why are you serving plates? And he was like, oh, so-and-so just had to run out to the bathroom real quick or something. You know, and she looking around. I'm like, you're so extra and dramatic. I don't care how much money you have. You're at a fucking family function, first of all. And it's buffet style, bitch. It's not like you have catered seats.
Plated food.
So it's like, to me, yeah, she's not as harsh as her parents or whatever, but she doesn't stand up for him enough. And she just, I feel like Brandon is just too meek. He just takes too much shit from everybody.
No, I feel I do too. And I love him. Like, I think he is awesome. I think he just can't catch a break. Like, he can't figure out how to fucking catch a break. Like, all he wants to do is cook and do what he loves the right way.
The right way.
He wants to do it the right way, and everything keeps coming at him for, everything is not at fault of his own. And that's what's very, very tug of war with his character in the show, because I just feel like you said, he can't catch a break. Like, it's just, he takes so much, and all he wants is like this one thing, and he can't figure out how to just do it without the extra. So, such a cutie. He's such a cutie. I'd date him if I was single. Because he's actually one of the guys that I would say is tapping into his potential. He's not just sitting around working at McDonald's, talking about, I'm going to get me a this and this. No, he's like, okay, how I can make this happen. I don't want no handouts. I can respect that kind of man, because at the end of the day, when he loses it all, he'll know how to go back out there and do it again without playing the victim.
Emmett.
Oh, gosh. It's so loaded.
Another guy trying to do things, but he's not at Brandon's level yet. He's definitely not as established. He doesn't even have a place to call his own. So he wakes up on his stranger-esque daddy that he barely fucking knows.
His daddy is fine.
His daddy is fine. His daddy acts just like him.
He does.
Emmett wakes up, like, he's in a house full of his brothers and sisters that he don't really know, waking him up all early. He goes into the kitchen and he's smelling breakfast and shit. He sees his daddy scrambling eggs. He's like, okay, all happy for a second. Goes to grab him a plate. Ain't no more pancakes. So he asks his daddy, like, where the food at? His daddy like, nigga, you snooze, you lose. Like, we don't save no plates around here, especially not for you. So he's realizing he's not the only child being catered at his mom's house anymore. So, he's out here trying to find a way. Do you go to like a private lawyer before you get child support? Because it looked like he was having like a private meeting with the baby mama over, I guess, child support or something.
So, yeah. So there are a few different things you can do. You can mediate. You can have like a mediator. And there's things within, so like, before you get to the court, because usually when you go before the judge, if you can't make an agreement or come to an agreement with the other party, the judge is going to just come in and be like, you know what, this is what's going to happen. This is what I think should happen. Since y'all can't come together, this is what's going to happen. And so typically an ideal thing is if you have two responsible or seemingly responsible people that can have somewhat of a decent conversation and get to a relatively, compromising place, then mediation would be probably the best route for you. Now, the thing that I don't understand, which I kind of feel like I'm familiar with, but maybe not, I don't know why they couldn't just include the visitation conversation in that piece with the mediator, because you know how he was like,
I gotta pay
for my kid, but I can't see my kid. So I do think that there is an element of like, you know, you kind of have to schedule. It's like it's all politics, you know, like it's, you know, well, we can do this today, but if you want to talk about visitation, you got to go this route. You know what I mean? Like you would think that you could probably handle everything in one, but I think that there are some times where, since it is so like, you know, a la carte, and you can't just lump everything in unless you have an attorney that you can sue the other person, and then you know what I mean? If it's like mediation or something like that, I really do believe that there's different avenues you have to go to. And for this particular scene, they're strictly talking about child support for whatever the reason, instead of visitation. But
yeah, well, Emmett brings up visitation, and that's when the lady's like, yeah, you got to pay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he leaves that meeting super, like, defeated because he knows he doesn't, like, make enough money, and he's not going to have enough money to, I guess, pay whatever he got to pay at that initial hearing or whatever. So he goes to the shop, the Indian guy, his friend from the last season. He goes to him to see if they could hustle like some sneakers and do what they did last year. But the guy's like, that's not selling right now. The new J's just came out. It's like too late. And somehow they stumble upon some like weave, some Indian connect he got somewhere, and they about to do a weave hustle, you know?
Love it.
I thought it was real cute. I thought it was real relevant.
Right.
And I was like, this is perfect because Emmett is very, you know,
entrepreneurial.
He's entrepreneurial, but it's good for him to sell stuff to women in particular.
It is.
Like Jody and Baby Boy.
I was gonna say, it takes me back to Jody and Baby Boy.
You like this girl?
My weight, my height. You like this girl? Cute.
That's my shit.
My God, yes, that is so true. I didn't think about that piece of it, but yeah,
I'm excited to see where that goes because
I am too.
It was like, oh shit, he was like, you got more of this? We can clean this shit up, straighten it up, bundle it up.
Bundle it up.
All my girls wear this.
That's how you know you date some straight black girls. You know, like don't act like you don't. But yeah, I really do enjoy Emmett. I also thought it was interesting, the dinner that they had at his dad's house. They had that dinner, which I was like, oh, what?
So sad.
Like what we didn't walked up in on. I really felt like I was part of like some shit that I didn't need to be a part of.
I knew it was coming though, but that was good.
You knew what was coming. I
knew that Emmett's resentment for his daddy being this like caretaker to all these other kids was coming, because even when like he opened the door and Emmett's at the door, he had like a kid on his hip. He was feeding one kid. Like he was clearly like a dad that was involved. And I just knew it was coming, you know? So at the dinner table.
But what did you think about the women that were all at the table?
Yeah, so at the dinner table, it looked like he had his exes and his other baby mamas, and one of them had her husband with them. They were having a family dinner. Everything was very amicable. They were laughing, and, you know, they even made a joke because Emmett was like, how the hell are all y'all getting along? You know, what's up? And she was just like, hey, you know, we made it work. It's fine. You know, she even made a little chuckle out of it and kissed her husband, you know, and the other baby mama was like, yeah, we all good, you know? So Emmett was like, wow, this is crazy. And then that's when he got mad, and he was just like, how could you know, he stormed out. His dad followed him, and he was just like, how are you playing daddy, making it work with them, but my mama get the fuck boy, you know, the ain't shit nigga. Like, how does that work?
That's a lot of times heart to heart. That's a lot of times real life.
That's real life. And it's very hard when you're an adult and you gotta like find a relationship now with your parent. Because I can speak for me and my dad, like he raised his other kid who is now like 12, and he was never in my life, and now I'm like 30. And so it's just it's so strange to see him like be a dad with her, and it's just like, wow, that's crazy. But in retrospect, it's probably like just how Emmett's dad said, had he not been such a terrible dad with his first, which was Emmett, he probably wouldn't be such a great dad now. Like, it was like a learning lesson, unfortunately.
Well, and I think you're at two different, a lot of times I mean, statistically, you're not necessarily, the idea of everything is that you hope to grow, not just get older. As you get older, the idea is that you grow. Some people we know just get older. They don't grow. We knew them at 15, 25, 35, 45, and they still act like they're 10, right? They just get older. But, you know, and in this case, and in some cases, you know, you do have where, you know, it just so happens at the time and the space and the age that you meet someone is a lot younger or a different time in their life where they just weren't ready. And it's not an excuse to be necessarily a shitty person or whatever. And then once you recognize you were that shitty person, not try to make it right. But what I'm saying is, realistically, you do have a lot of people that are like, that was a whole different period of time. I'm not who I once was. Therefore, I'm now able to be something that unfortunately I wasn't able to be to your mom or to your husband, whatever.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It really sucks. But my hope is that they continue to follow this story, and, you know, it's never too late. I always feel that way. It's never too late to build a relationship with your parents.
Yeah, they needed that little heart-to-heart moment. So.
They needed that heart-to-heart moment to get through so that they can get over the next, you know, push through, because it was a big elephant in the room.
Yeah, so, it was. So
I'm very happy about how that is going.
Mm-hmm. And it also seems like, you know, his dad, because Emmett's mom, of course, she tried to make him be a better man, get his shit together, but his dad is letting him know, like, you got to carry your weight around here. And he seems to be taking it a lot more seriously coming from this man, his dad, because he probably never had that male, like, influence.
Because as I mentioned before, innately, women are more nurturing. We are more giving. Right. We are more soft. It doesn't mean that we can't be firm and we can't be strict and we can't raise a successful Black man. It just means that, you know, they look at, boys in general look at male figures, their dads, for that authoritative, like, it to be a man. They look at that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he needed, and that's what he was missing. And hopefully he can take some nuggets along the way, because it's not too late.
I know, right? Hopefully. But it seems like he's still, like you said, he's real smart. He's trying to get his shit together, this hair hustle. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Get him some money, because I'm so sick of him struggling on these streets, getting beat up in the trains, child. Like, I can't take it. Like, I'm like this, watching. I'm like, oh God, please just let him in. Oh my God. It's brutal.
Him in real life, I really don't. What's his name?
You know, I don't know. I barely know their character names.
Because he's a singer.
Oh, is he really a singer?
He is a real singer. He has like an album coming out like next week. So.
I actually dated a guy that looked like him back in high school. It's kind of funny because he really looks like him.
Emmett's so cute to me, but he's like 20.
But you like him young. Well, younger.
Girl, not that young now. I'm not trying to go to jail.
Girl, he's legal.
Barely.
Girl, you teach him some things. So, teach him how to get some good credit, child.
Moving on from Emmett. Jacob Lattimore. That's his name. I was like, he has like a real stagey name.
Okay, Kenny Lattimore.
I think that may be Kenny. Let me stop lying. I really don't know. But maybe it is his daddy. Oh my God, I think that may be his daddy.
That might be. You done gave Kenny Lattimore a whole child, honey.
You need to look that up. I feel like you would know that.
I could look that up.
I know you a Kenny Lattimore fan.
I am a Kenny Lattimore fan.
I know. You like all those.
More. Yeah, that's why I brought up here, girl.
No, girl. So yeah, the last and final storyline in this thing is basically Jake and Ronnie. So their story kind of pulls together again through this because Ronnie is, as we know from the last episode, trying to get out of jail. All right. So he starts talking to some lawyers, basically his public defender, the only thing he can afford. And his friends in jail was like, you're never going to get out with a public defender. Like, you need a real lawyer. You got to pay a retainer. You got to do all that. And he was like, I don't have no money. You know, I really need to get out my grandmother, blah, blah, blah. So they tell him to, he finds like this KKK, I guess he's like KKK or Nazi. He has like a swastika thing in his head.
Yeah, he don't like black people. Or anybody.
So I guess this guy is the guy in prison who makes moves for other people. He has money, blah, blah, blah. So Ronnie, he's been making alcohol because he's been getting fucked up in jail to feed his alcoholism. And so since he knows how to make alcohol, he knows it's a commodity, he decides to offer it to the Nazi guy in exchange for him hooking him up with a decent lawyer. So the guy does it. Ronnie gets hooked up with the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, look, I feel like we can get you off of this. You're a drunk. This kid that you killed, he had a record. He wasn't even a really good kid, blah, blah, blah. And Ronnie, he's like, no, I don't want to go that way. I don't want you to slander the kid's name. Like, Ronnie's trying to be the good guy, even though he's a murderer. And the lady's like, look, you're in jail. You
don't have many options.
All right? You a black man in jail. So you better put your morals on the backside. So that's
who killed a kid at that. Like, we're not talking about another grown man. We're talking about a kid. Ooh, yeah. I hate it for him.
She seemed like a good lawyer, though, because she was already, like, figuring out that he was drinking in jail. Like, she knew what was up. You know, in it. So, and she probably already got her angle. So she probably going to be like, oh, he was drunk. There was a scuffle. He didn't mean to do it. That's why he turned himself in. Like, you know. So that's what I see happening. I see Ronnie getting out of jail. And so because of this, now the detectives are like trying to tell Jake, trying to convince Jake's parents to get him to testify on the stand. Jake doesn't, not Jake. Is his name Jake?
Kevin,
girl. Kevin. Jake is a little badass with the dreads. Yes. So yeah, Kevin's the good boy who witnessed the crime and the murder. So they want to get him to testify, and he's scared to do it.
But at the last minute, he says he's going to do it.
Yes, he does. And you know why, right?
I didn't peep it. Because the conversation, him and
Jake, the badass boy.
Well, see, that's what I was going to say.
Real ass conversation.
They did have a real ass conversation. And that's what I was saying. Like, I wanted to bring that up really quick, too, because I felt like there was something really raw in that conversation they had on that sofa.
Almost cried.
Me too. I literally had to write it down because I'm like, this is a real, reality. Kids, there's a lot of people that think kids, like, oh, they're just kids. They don't know. They're just, you know, oh God, let them just go play. Let's go, let them have recess. Kids, especially kids nowadays. I mean, kids have had issues back in the day. What I'm saying is our kids, they deal with real life adult problems. And the fact is that you can't assume anything. And the fact that someone like Jacob has lived his life in the way that he has, in the sense of, you know, him being exposed to certain things, bad, good, or indifferent, and then the way that Kevin was raised, they both kind of have this relatable sense. However, Jacob doesn't necessarily know about the things that Kevin has gone through, or Kevin's going through, in a sense where it's like, oh, well, you just be lucky you don't live that life. And Kevin is kind of having this outcry that's like, dude, like, I may not live that life, but I've got like the world on my shoulders right now, because I'm terrified that people are going to like come at, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like there was some sort of like raw element in that conversation where it was like Jacob was expressing like, man, this isn't, like, you're just so lucky. You're so blessed. And Kevin's thinking like, yeah, but not really. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Jake put, you know, things in perspective for Kevin and really brought things in reality. And, you know, Jake, as we know, he's being raised by his brother, Reggie.
It made me cry that he was like, he was like, I wouldn't even know what my mom would look like if she knocked on the door. Like, oh.
Yeah, so he said that. I was just about to say that. He was like, you know, be lucky, because basically Kevin's telling Reggie, like, I mean, what's his name? Jacob, yeah. Kevin's telling Jake, like, look, I don't want to be a snitch. Like, I know what the streets think of snitches. And Jake's like, nigga, gang members snitch all the time. He was like,
time.
we're not supposed to snitch, but gang members snitch when it comes down to the line of it. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, just be lucky you don't live by those laws. He was like, you have the choice to do what you need to do. He was like, you have 2 parents to protect you. I don't have a choice. That's why I live by gang laws. That's why I'm trying to follow my brother, because that's all I know. Mm-hmm. And that's when Kevin was like, damn, I do have a good parents and all this, and I can do the right thing. Like, I'm not forced into this lifestyle, you know? So it was deep. And that's why I really like the kids, because people sleep on the kids when they really drive this story, and they're like the innocence, and you see it's where the changes happen. So it's almost like Jake and Kevin are Reggie and Brandon back in the day, and we see where the actual change happens and how they split ways or go their separate ways. So I think it's pretty interesting. This is just a amazingly written show. It is. Lena Waithe, the details are just, it's very, very amazingly written, and beautiful scenes. Like I said, even like how you described like the food that Brandon was cutting up. It's like all the little eye-catching little scenes that really make you feel like a fly on the wall, which is really why I like The Chi. Mm-hmm. I thought this was really interesting, and then after that I'm done. But do you remember when Ronnie was exchanging in prison with the KKK guy? And the KKK guy was like, well, why are you here? You know, who'd you kill? And he was like, I killed a little kid. And the KKK guy was like, black kid or white kid? And Ronnie was like, black kid, you know? And the KKK guy was like, I guess black lives don't matter. You know, and I'm like, damn, that's deep, because that's really how they all think. Like, as soon as one black on black crime happens, our value is diminished more than what it already was. Like, our value was already low, but every time they see us killing each other, black people killing each other, it lowers, and it kind of validates them. And it was just interesting for her to like catch that on film. That was good.
I agree. It should have been a kick in your stomach moment.
Yeah, I was like,
see yourself. It's the raw truth. Yeah.
But it's just so much deeper. And because we know the backstory, it's like, it's not so black and just trying to kill my own people. It just, I thought this boy killed my son. And, you know, I was hurt. I was upset. Layers. Like, so many layers. So I'm in it. I'm all the way in The Chi. I can't wait till next episode.
I can't either. I can't wait to see episode 3. I can't wait, because yeah, I just can't wait. I'm actually
glad you're into it now, because you was at first, it was questionable. The first episode, you were like,
I mean, I love I do really enjoy The Chi, but the first episode I was just like, and I'm still, even if it was just like a okay episode, I still would have watched, but I was just like, it just started off really slow for me. Mm-hmm. That's all. Like, it just started off, but at the end, I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. Oh my God, I was not ready. Why?
Yeah.
And then this episode, I was like, okay, I got all my life. Like, I got you gave me everything I needed to just feel
it's a lot of storylines happening.
A lot of storylines, and you got to keep up, because if, like, I noticed as I was watching, I was like, okay, I really need to be in tune, because you'll miss certain things. If you're just kind of like watching as you're doing stuff, like, you'll miss the true.
That's how deep her writing and her directing is. Yeah,
you gotta actually watch it. You gotta watch it if you want to get the full, I feel like, value of the show.
Or just watch it twice, because like I missed some stuff the first episode. Like, it's just some stuff I didn't see. I mean, the first run and the second run, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch it with Marlon, the second episode, because like I said, I watched it in pieces. Like, I mean, I watched half and then the other half, because just to take me to even get through half, it took hours. So, because of life, but
but I like
to watch it continuously straight through like a normal person. So I'm gonna watch it again, and
We will be here for the breakdown, recap, review every week, y'all, for the Shy. So subscribe, like, share. Check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple, whatever. It's on everything. Black Coffee.
We're out. We're out here. We are
right.
out here.
We out here. All right. So
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
see y'all.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the Black Coffee and Tea podcast, available now on iTunes, Spotify, Soundcloud, and YouTube.
And if you want to be a part of the BCT fam, make sure you follow us on Instagram at BCT Podcast.
Until next time.